Okay, I'm gonna make a video explaining how people can tell that the galaxy is not centered by a black hole. Alright, first off, to understand this concept, you gotta understand what people think a black hole is and how they claim they form galaxies. Alright, first off, you got your black hole in the center right here. Then you got your event horizon, which is a ring around the black hole. And then you got your spiral arms that are rushing in. And the theory behind this is that you got the fabric of space and time, which they claim is like a fabric. They claim it's like a sheet. And when mass is applied to this sheet, it forms a impression or like a area influence on the fabric itself. Alright, well, when a black hole forms, they claim that a supermassive star went supernova and exploded and annihilated itself and ripped a hole in the fabric of space-time. Okay, so not only did it leave an impression, but it ripped a hole. So you got a hole right here. And this hole is supposed to be a pathway to the multiverse or whatever they claim. Okay, and in this concept, matter at the center of the black hole will be accelerated to the speed of light. Okay, the black hole would be devouring stars, gas, anything that's in its path. Basically, it'd just be like, an eater. So it will be devouring space-time and everything in it at an accelerated rate right at the center of the black hole. And this would cause a whirlpool effect, which drags the gravity at the center is, from the black hole is the greatest. And this causes that indentation, that impression, which causes all this matter to start moving in. So you got this matter falling in, that matter falling in, that matter falling in, and matter falling in from this way. So it's all falling in like a whirlpool effect. And the matter on the outside should theoretically be slower because it has to accelerate into the black hole. So this would be slower than this in here because this is moving at the speed of light at the event horizon, while this is still just kind of dragging in the back. But that isn't how that isn't how anything works. Okay, that isn't how our galaxy works, and that isn't how the motion of a galaxy is recorded. Okay, so a motion of the galaxy is more like a disk. All right, so the outside of the galaxy moves at the same rate as the inside of a galaxy. Okay, so this point on the inside is going to be the same point as the outside at all times. So as this thing moves around, it's like a record. It's not going to change. Okay, your position isn't changing. You're just like moving around the disk. Okay, like you won't be accelerated faster in here than out here because it's all one. It's one mass. Okay, it's one mass. It all spins at the same rate and the same speed on the outside as it does on the inside. Okay, so back to this concept of black holes. People are claiming that stars are orbiting the black hole and stuff like that. Nothing would orbit the black hole because it would just be falling into it. Yeah, the black hole would have to constantly eat, constantly devour, constantly force matter into nothingness to stay alive, basically. So this has to happen at an accelerated rate. So there's no avoiding it. So technically, the galaxy should be shrinking or collapsing into a black hole. Like there's no possible way that this could be growing or anything like that because it has to be devouring. It has to eat to live. And if it doesn't have any, and first off, it doesn't match the actual calculations of the galaxy. Okay, the matter on the outside would be moving slower than the matter on the inside. So that's already wrong. So you could tell that. Alright, so let's move on. We're going to share some extra stuff with you. Alright, stars do not orbit other stars. Now you can tell this by the constellations. The constellations have been the same for tens of thousands of years. You can see Stone Age drawings of the constellations on rock walls and stuff like that. And people have found ancient artifacts from caveman times that show that the constellations are basically the same shape as they were back some 10,000 years ago, whenever Stone Age times. All right, so this concept that matter would be falling into the black hole, that means that the stars would be changing at a constant rate. All right, that means that the stars would be falling in. Okay, like we would be also getting closer to the center of the galaxy if this was a black hole, because it would be sucking us in. And I'm sorry to inform you, but I mean, we would see this. You would see the stars warping, going towards the center of the black hole, and stars would be disappearing, constellations would be disappearing. You wouldn't see, and they would be disappearing at an accelerated rate nonetheless, because of the black hole and the concepts of the gravity of the black hole and how it's supposed to operate. Okay, so this is basically a rough drawing of like how you can tell. This is where the galaxy arms are covering up the center of the galaxy. Okay, you got Scorpio on this side, and then you got Sagittarius on this side. Sagittarius usually has his bow pointed right towards the center of the galaxy. That's why they call it Sagittarius A star or whatever, wherever they think the center of the galaxy is. But the center of the galaxy is covered by the galaxy arms that, obviously we can't see through it because of our position. Our point of view is obstructed by the actual arms of the center of the galaxy. Okay, and if this was a black hole, then the constellation of Sagittarius would be moving into it. The constellation of Scorpio would be moving into it. We would see these stars being pulled in. Okay, and we would see that effect on the closer stars that are closer to the center of the galaxy. But we don't see that because the constellations have basically been the same since known record, caveman records. I mean, I don't know how far that goes. You could go 15,000 years or something like that, but that's a pretty far ways back. All right, now to inflation. In this case, they claim that the Big Bang happened and that caused everything to fling out from one singularity, one single point in space. And they claim that inflation is still constantly happening from the Big Bang, and it has something to do with dark matter and all this dark energy. And I would just like to explain to you that this concept of inflation from the Big Bang doesn't even match observation. Okay, the stars would be moving away from each other if this inflation expansion was real, if it was the active cause of expansion. But it's not. Okay, now let me explain to you. You have the constellation, all right? Like this is you get the Milky Way. I mean the Little Dipper. Okay, if there was a Big Bang from this area and it was influencing the expansion of the universe, then these stars would be moving away. This star would be moving over there, this star would be moving over there, that star would be moving over there, that star would be, and this constellation will be stretching. It would have a different structure almost every day if dark energy and inflation had anything to do with the actual expansion of the universe, but they're not, because that doesn't dark energy and inflation have nothing to do with an expansion. The Big Bang has absolutely no verification of actually happening. So to propagate a lie or a theory based on what you think and not what you can prove is just not science. I'm sorry. All right, now to the Big Bang Theory. Galaxies wouldn't make clusters if inflation had anything to do with if the Big Bang and inflation had anything to do with the actual expansion of the universe. Okay, the galaxies wouldn't even hold shape. They would basically be disintegrated by the angle of the blast from where the Big Bang came from. And then another problem with the Big Bang is that, like Einstein claimed that the Big Bang was similar to a supernova. Okay, whenever a supernova goes off, they do not expand forever or inflate forever. Okay, they have the single point that the supernova happens from, and then you have the nova cloud that follows. Okay, but this is all pushed out by a shock wave, and that shock wave can keep on going. But once the nova cloud stops and dissipates its energy from the original blast point, this isn't spreading out anymore. That's why you get a supernova remnant, and that's basically the fact that you can prove that the Big Bang didn't happen and isn't even possible and can't explain the active expansion of the universe. So you basically disprove common theories that are out there of why expansion is happening. Okay, now back to expansion. They claim that the Big Bang happened from one single point and that everything flung out from that. Okay, so the problem with this is that even on a galactic scale, like say this is our branch of the galaxy cluster of the cosmic web. Okay, this is the Milky Way, that's Andromeda, that's Triangulum, this is the large Meg, that's the small Meg. Okay, even if we did come from one single point and these managed to stay together from wherever they came from, because they have no actual point where the Big Bang happened, even if this did happen as they claim, the galaxies would be moving apart from each other. Okay, like they would still be spreading out from the original Big Bang. This would move that way, this would move forward, and this one move forward, this one move forward, this one move forward, and they would all spread out, like they would fan out basically. They wouldn't create a galaxy cluster and have this same basic, because the Andromeda galaxy has been visible from ancient times. I mean, they have cave paintings of it basically, and the same with the other galaxies that they have noticed. Okay, so the problem with this is we've been in a galaxy cluster for as long as most people can record. So if these were spreading out as they claim, from the inflation of the Big Bang, these would be moving way faster at an accelerated rate from one point, and they would be like Andromeda galaxy would be way far away from us by now. But it's not, because we're in a cluster. And these clusters are basically they're basically strung together by the light and the matter that comes from these galaxies. Okay, and I just want to say another thing. The Big Bang has no proof of happening whatsoever. If you learn where the actual concept of the Big Bang came from, you understand that it's not even an observable theory. You can't observe it. Okay, they have no proof of it actually happening, and with no proof means it's not scientific. Okay, you need to have proof, evidence that you can back up, that you can observe, that other people can observe. And I'm sorry to tell you, but the black hole concept and all these concepts, they don't make any sense. Like I said again, if there was a black hole at the center of the galaxy that was sucking in matter at an accelerated rate, the constellations wouldn't be the same. We would see different stars constantly, and we ourselves would be moving closer and closer and closer to the center of the galaxy. Okay, and then again, as we got closer, we would be moving faster towards the event horizon. But this is not how a galaxy works or rotates or operates. That is how a galaxy works. Okay, it all moves as one disk. So that's basically all you need to know. Hopefully this helps you.